welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. Now in our 5th season, looking into the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town. My name is Benjamin Bloom, and you are tuned in to the flagship show, available each and every week on video or audio. So, for a sometimes irreverent but almost informative hour or more football conversation, make your Monday a Blue Monday. David Diamond,
Hey!
how you doing, sir?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. We're turning the clock back here. Episode 1, Brentford away, 2-2. Who was the front two?
Christ almighty, I don't know.
Sears and Murphy?
Yeah, I remember Fraser laid one on a plate for Sears, was it? I
Sears,
think. Yeah.
I think it
Murph,
was
yeah.
just
So would be about right, Sears and Murphy, wouldn't it, I think? Sears
Sears.
and Murph.
Sears hadn't been farmed out to the right wing, left wing, wherever at this
No,
point.
not yet. I remember those early days, the pilot pod, the very first one.
Pilot, but that
And
would have
then
been a
then we
pre-season preview, wouldn't it?
yeah, then we launched into my top 10.
Oh,
Yeah, good days. Good days.
classic. If you look on the YouTube channel, you can see some of the old stuff that we are talking about. But we must not spend the entire time reminiscing about the past, much as it would be nice to be. But how are you, Dave, my friend? Are you good?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm pretty good, Ben. Yeah. You sort of fairly busy with our kitchen extensions and stuff going
Oh,
on. I mean,
okay.
the house is just full of shit, really.
Okay.
Bloody plastering today and stuff like that. So yeah, not pleasant, mate. But got to shut it away. It'll be great when it's done. That sort of thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you make your promotion at work?
Yeah. Well, say
Ah,
promotion. Yeah. Sort of
yeah.
stepped up. So yeah, all
Who's the
good.
man?
A lot more, a bit more management, bit more Brent management. You know my
Quickly
management
give me your
style. You know
management
my management
philosophies.
style. Bit laid. Not that I was a manager back then, but obviously a bit laid back.
Dave,
As
I could
you can
probably get you fired from your job right now by revealing how laid back your
actually, you probably could. You probably could. They were good days. They were funny days, weren't they?
They were.
Yeah,
They were.
a very young, clean cut, less hirsute Ben, I
So
would say in those days.
you've been exactly the same forever, haven't you, Dave? Someone who is nearly the same as he was after a bit of a transformation is Bartosz Białkowski, Dave. Gary
Yes.
Rowett is on the propaganda run
Yeah.
already, putting
Yeah.
it in there,
Oh
putting
yeah.
his poison in
Yeah.
there. So he's quoted today, um, words to the effect, Dave, of be the worst case scenario if Ipswich were to bring back Bart to sell him
Flog.
on. So let me get your. I've seen him play twice this season
Well, no,
for
that was going to be my
for
question
Millwall.
to you. Yeah, go
Well,
on.
I'll go after you've gone.
Go.
Firstly, what do you think the best situation is for Bart and for
Well, look,
Ipswich? And secondly, um, are Ipswich able to kind of do some kind of deal without too much risk that do it off in the background, bring him back?
they want to do some sort of deal. I mean, let's face it. Last season, Bart, bless him, who we all love dearly, and was, player of the season 3 years running for an unprecedented 3 seasons running. Absolutely superb. It's fair to say, along with the team and the club in general last season, his stock fell somewhat, didn't it? I mean, you must say his stock did fall somewhat, and consequently, obviously, he was in and out of the team with Gherkin. So
Dropped by Hurst and by Lambert.
yeah, both absolutely. And we all know that the initial drop by Hurst was just frankly awful. And do you know what? For that game, I think it probably did affect him for the remainder of the season. Probably it was that big a deal. So going out to Millwall, I know one or two Millwall supporters I speak to now and again, and early season seemed to have a bit of a hangover for him from last season. But it's seemingly in recent weeks he's been pulling off, still the incredible Bart-like reflex saves that we all, that we all remember and all remember, oh so well. So his stock has obviously risen again at Millwall. Whether it's back to where it was, I don't know, 18 months ago. Look, who knows? As far as we're concerned, well, it's a tricky one as far as we're concerned because again, I'm not sure really. Lambert is too sure. Is he really sold on Thomas Holy, who's our goalkeeper? Yeah, in recent weeks, Norris, who's on loan, has been in goal. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, personally, look, I'd love to see Bart come back and compete with, if we can, if that is a scenario, and compete with Holy for the number one jersey. I mean, there's much more, to my mind, there's much more parity there than Bart and Gherkin, for instance. So from that point of view, but it's football. If he comes back and he's, again, for the next few weeks, he's still as consistent as he has been. Who's to know who might come in for an offer for him? And would listen to it, I guess.
So, I mean, there's a few things on this. I assume it was a 3-year contract last summer.
I think so.
And there's no Marcus Evans. He gets a lot of stick. He's quite good at these. There's normally another year option on the end of it. So, in one respect, time is on our side from a negotiating point of view. Even given his age, he can play for another 5 or 6 years.
This could work out really well for us. This could really well. So he's still in the championship. Playing well. He's, as I say, his stock has risen again. He comes back to be a championship keeper with us again. Thomas Holy, okay. I think he looks, from what I've seen, he looks okay. Obviously, Lambert's got some doubts about him. Is he a championship goalkeeper? I don't know. That's to be seen, isn't it?
So I've seen him. I tell a lie, Dave. I've seen Millwall 3 times this season. I saw him play against QPR, and he dropped an absolute
bollocks.
He played quite well, but made a huge mistake, which led directly to Nike Wells scoring. Then I saw him play against
how early in the season was that?
Mid-September, I guess. Yeah,
all right. So
time for him to
early.
Time for him to
time to settle. Yeah, you're right.
Then I saw him play against Leeds, and Leeds had Berardi sent off really early, and it was one of those games where Leeds have loads of the ball. The opposing team plays a low block, and they don't get many shots off. So he was fine in that game, had no chance for the goal. Then I saw him play away at Luton, and he was really good, and he made one stupendous save in his, the sort of like highlight reel saves that he used to make. And there's been a couple recently where you're like, oh, I remember this guy.
And is there general Millwall love for him?
There is, but I don't think there'll be general Millwall love if they realise the contract that he's got at Ipswich, and Bart might hold the cards here, and it's one of those where your career's winding down. You got a really nice contract, and that people say this about footballers, but Bart hasn't played in the Premier League. He's not a multi stupid millionaire, is he?
And no. I'm sure he's more than comfortable. But no,
I'm sure a drop of £4,000 to £5,000 a week or more would make quite a difference to him over the.
I'm sure it would.
Last couple and those are the numbers that we're talking about. And
you know what, Ben, I just like, because he's, I know of him, my wife works at a school with his kids, and he comes across as a really nice guy as well, And
I think that was probably half the problem last year, just he is a nice guy, he is fallible, he doesn't. I saw James Maddison get interviewed the other day, and you think you could literally throw Breeze Brox and every insult at that guy, and he wouldn't lose one bit of
a duck's
confidence.
Brilliant.
But no, but maybe slightly more sensitive.
Sensitive, and I really do. I think you can't underestimate how that was handled by Hurst, and before the magnitude of which game it was last season. I think that affected him for the rest of the season. Probably never really got over it.
Interesting to see how it plays out. Let us know in the comments on the YouTube and at Blue Monday ITFC what you think should happen. Right, I'm sorry, Dave, we're going to have to do it. We've got to talk about fixtures and cups and scheduling and all of this nonsense and cancellations. So, the FA Cup draw has been made, and of all the glamour, Dave, it is 1987 winners. Coventry City.
Ouchie!
And Clive Allen scored his 49th goal of the season in that game.
He did.
There you go, guys. I've just mentioned Tottenham 86-87 to Dave. He's now going to go off on a Glenn Hoddle.
No, I'm well enough, because I have been invited to a lunch in London, and Glenn Hoddle is the guest the week before Christmas.
Have you ever met him?
Kind of, no. So I'm kind of going to be a bit.
What, Dave? What if he's a dick?
Yeah, I know.
Never
meet
your heroes.
That'd be awful.
Dear. Please, we'll post that on the account. Get a selfie with him.
I certainly will.
We'll post that. You can
Yeah.
Dave's going to go up to Glenn Hoddle. Can you kick with both feet? So yeah, potentially Coventry on, and even more ridiculously, they're ground sharing with Birmingham, which fits in with Bart because Millwall go up to
It's just horrible
on the Saturday. So and this is all obviously pending a win away at Lincoln next Wednesday night. We'll go through
Were you there Saturday? Were you there last Saturday?
No, I was at Forest Derby.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sadly, I was doing some
Yeah.
championship nonsense there. I saw David Johnson's son play.
Oh, I read that. Yeah, you felt very old.
I did feel very, very old. Yeah.
Did he look?
Oh, he only played for a minute. They were 10 behind the ball defending the stoppage time, so he didn't really get a touch. But
was it his debut though?
Possibly league debut. I know he's played in the cups before. So hold that thought. The Cov second round game possibly going in on Sunday the 1st of December, and on Saturday, Dave, no less than Clinton Morrison, a proponent of be careful what you wish for, if my memory serves, will be making the leasing.com draw on Soccer Saturday, presumably not with Jeff if it's international.
He's making it. He's making the draw with Sue Smith, who's an ex. I think she might be one of the.
She did our game against Rochdale.
Yeah,
she was the headset on that, wasn't she? Scouser, yeah.
Yeah. Ex-England player. And that's in Soccer Saturday, isn't it? At 2:00 or something like that.
So
is that that's the sorry, I got that wrong. That's the leasing doc.
You're right. Yeah, that's what we're on now. Yeah. So we know it's an away game at either Milton Keynes,
Exeter,
Bristol Rovers, or Peterborough. Obviously, for selfish reasons, I can get to Milton Keynes in about 10 minutes. So it'd be nice.
Peterborough wouldn't be that ball ache for you, would it? Too bad?
No, it wouldn't be awful. Obviously, there would be no chance.
No.
This is going to be a midweek as well, isn't it?
I think so.
December week 1. In fact, it'll be after the potential FA Cup second round game. And this is how ridiculous this fixture list is getting. We could have 2 away games. We could have no games. And then there's going to be these situations of, 2 teams knocked out. Do they then take one of the spare games, the Oxford game that hasn't been rescheduled, and stick that in there?
Seriously. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this, and I shouldn't be, because I'm doing, essentially doing an Ipswich Town pod here. But I'm rapidly losing interest. It's just all too much. It's crazy.
What in the?
I haven't had a home Saturday when they play at next Saturday against Blackpool. That'll be the first home Saturday game in 2 months since Tranmere.
Tranmere, yeah.
28th of September. It's just, it's mad. It's mad. All right, I suppose. In recent weeks, was it the last international break? I think both. We had a lot of players out. I think we had Downs. I think Norwood had his op. I think Vincent Young was out as well. So I could sort of get that, but I don't know. Yeah, it's so, to me, it's just so disruptive, and the fixture list is all over. As you're right in saying, it's all over the place.
Do you think we used to hear these stories about, sort of Sam Allardyce would, map the whole season out, knowing in advance when the games were and what was happening. Is that less of an issue for a team at the top of the league than it is at the bottom of the league, where you're really identifying, right, now these 3 weeks we could potentially get load of points? Whereas
I think you're right, and it's this, clearly it's no secret, Lambert and the clubs must be the first most important thing this season is to make the top 2 and go straight back up, so. Yeah, I know there's a lot of moaning on there about the FA. I can understand. All right, 10 changes. Well, going back to last Saturday would seem a bit extravagant sort of thing. But yeah, I can sort of get that. I really can.
Interesting. And this midweek, Dave, it was another, I don't know how many cup games we play, even... This is
going back almost 80, 81, mate. We're playing cup games more than we're playing league games.
And considering we don't win many of them, it's still a terrific amount of games, isn't it? So this is the leasing.com final group game. Dead rubber, so to speak. But if we had not have lost, we would have been at home in this midweek. Yeah. So
So you've got a factor in there. Okay, it is a factor. So would have been at home instead of potential
Exeter.
Schlepped down to Exeter or Bristol Rovers midweek, so there is a factor.
which some would argue Paul Hurst's team never recovered from that Exeter
No,
knocking the ball
no.
about and then
What
losing
happened?
that game.
No, not absolutely right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was So again. Oh, wholesale changes. But well, go on. You carry
So
on.
what I'm going to do here, Dave, we're not gonna bang through the team and I'll just get your general thoughts. What I'd like to do is we'll go through player by player. I want you to kind of tell me why they're playing, why they're being used in this way, i.e., basically second reserve, not in the FA Cup team, in the Leeson team, and where they kind of stand in respects to
League,
getting
league
towards
team.
the first team. Yeah. So it was Holly in goal, Dave. Where does he stand now?
Well, I think we've spoken about that. I'm not sure. It's really odd because clearly, well, no, I'm not really. I mean, obviously, it's a choice of two. Norris is his preferred choice. I think was it Norris came in at Southend, I think, for his first league game. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Clearly, Norris is his first choice now. Don't think he's done anything. Don't think he's done anything wrong. I think he seems to kick. He's got banging left foot. I think he kicks the ball perhaps slightly more accurately and more truer than Holy. So yeah, I mean, obviously where Holy
Two
is,
clean
it's
sheets and a
between
penalty
two.
save,
So it's
Dave.
just one guy there's one guy at the moment in front of him, and that's Norris, isn't it? Albeit he's a loanee, which is tad disappointing. But anyway, from what I've seen so far, I don't think there's much to choose there.
And two clean sheets and a penalty save thus far.
Yep.
Okay, Denassian, where does he stand now?
Yeah, that's an odd one. I obviously Vincent, well down the pecking. Well, I say well down. Vincent Young, when fit, is obviously has hit the ground.
Dave, you're right. He is well down. He's played Gwion Edwards ahead of him.
Yeah, which for me I don't get. I'd rather go with an out and out. I'd rather go with an out and out solid. To me, that Edwards experiment, if you want to call it that. I think did Edwards play there the other night as well? I think he did.
Against Rochdale.
Colchester. Did he play?
He played, but not at fullback.
Not at fullback. Okay. Yeah, I don't get that, and that's a real. I mean, what does that say about Denassian? So that means, Denassian is so far, he's obviously so far away from the first team. You would think, which for me is a disappointment because jury's out maybe, but I quite like. I think whenever I've seen him play, he's been really quite solid. He's not the most dynamic going forward, but from a fullback, perhaps you just want to see a little bit more. Defensive awareness than maybe Edwards. But again, I wouldn't say Edwards has been particularly dreadful at fullback, but I think he's, for me, he's not as obviously strong defensively.
Kenlock, Dave, and can I add to the Kenlock thing? Is there any chance that we see, I don't know, against Wickham or something, Kenlock with Garbutt further forward in a more defensive configuration?
See, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think Kenlock gets a bit of a bad rap. And by all accounts, okay, taking into account who we played the other night, seemingly what I've read and sort of seen, he was probably a pick of our players the other night. Had quite a good game, and I'm pleased for him because I think it's more, as you said before, it's more his style perhaps, and his running, what they call it, gait, that perhaps makes him look a little bit clumsy. I think he's played a lot of games. Ben, he's played a lot of first team games, for goodness sake. So at the moment in time, he's obviously number two at left back behind Garbutt. But I wouldn't be adverse to seeing him at left back and perhaps Garbutt in front of him at some point.
Interesting. Wilson and Ciala centre halves.
I mean, Wilson clearly. I mean, Christ, he's got an amazing record, hasn't he? I mean, the other night I think was his first. He was skipper the other night as well, wasn't he? Did I see that?
Yeah,
I think he might have been. I see that as a good sign. So he's certainly, I'd say, as far as the two centre halves. So at the moment, obviously Chambers, Wolfenden. So I think Wilson. If we go for a three, it's certainly going to be Wilson.
He's part
of
the first team picture, isn't he?
He's usurped Enciala, hasn't he? At the moment, clearly Enciala's playing in pretty much all of the cup games. He hasn't had a great season so far, has he? When he has played, to be fair.
No. Brett McGavin, Dave. Know anything about him?
I know he's Steve McGavin's son, former prolific academy, even youth, maybe predated academy, sort of fairly prolific forward. Saw him play for Sudbury Town in the FA Vase final, I think, many years ago. Steve McGavin, really skillful player. Scored a lot of goals for Colchester, I think, when they dropped out of the league, I believe, and maybe won the FA FA
Oh,
Trophy, I
the
think.
Colchester Wickham days with
Yeah, that's right.
Martin
Yeah, yeah,
O'Neill. I
yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Roy McDonough up front
Oh,
and Nutter up front.
Scott McLeish. Yeah. Mark
Scott, yeah,
Sale.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He, yeah. I think, and again, he was talked up. Where if it wasn't Kenlock, I think he made his debut, his full debut, and according to I followed a bit on iFollow, watched, I listened to a bit on the radio. He was really solid, and didn't do much wrong really. Yeah, central midfielder, quite strong, combative. Yeah, again, I see him certainly while we're still in that competition. I see him getting time there. Not. I don't think he's anywhere near the league side yet.
Gwion Edwards, Lambert obviously sees an upside in this guy, doesn't he? He's trying to
Fit
use
in
him,
somewhere. Hmm.
and used him a lot in the initial 4-3-3. So is he just trying to get him up to speed, do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, and
Uh,
it's all the more game time you get, I suppose, confidence, fitness wise, it's gets you up to speed.
Emir Hughes, are we now seeing this as a look, we'll take what we can get out of this guy?
I hate to say it, Ben. I just think it is. I mean, I think that's just the injury clearly has taken its toll, hasn't he? You'd think, all right, I don't know, a disappointment for me because I really thought after perhaps 4 or 5 90 minutes you'd start to see the real benefit and the real player that we all witnessed back in the day, a couple of seasons ago against Villa away, and the great goal he scored against Newcastle at home and stuff. But I'd love to see the guy because I think he's got, at that level especially, he's got and a championship as well. I'd love to see the guy really, get a break and really, get some form. Because he just seems to be drifting in, to me when I've seen him, just seems to be drifting in and out of the games when I've seen him play and not really stamping his authority on the games, which I think he should be. But again, maybe still quite early after, 18 months out.
Georgiou, is he perhaps struggling a little bit with the fact that Lambert's going
I think so.
4-4-2 and
Yeah.
he could do with being a bit narrower?
Yeah, I think so. Again, interesting with Giorgio, which some have suggested about Norris. Perhaps are we getting under pressure from Wolves to play him? Will the time come from Spurs when Pochettino or someone at Spurs says, look, this guy starts sort of playing, and or we want him back. But I don't know.
Ben Falami.
Good to see. Yeah, really good to see.
What was the injury? Was it Achilles?
Achilles, bad, ruptured, awful.
Oh,
yeah. That's probably marginally worse. Or certainly on a par with Cruciate. Yeah, terrible injury. Great to see him back, but a young kid, bounce back from that sort of thing. From the highlights reel, I think he played quite well. A bit unlucky not to score, perhaps should have done, but great block from the defender. Really good to see him back. I think when we first saw him, so that was Millwall 2 seasons ago. I've lost track. 2 seasons.
Mix last season.
Mix up. Yeah, of course, mix last season.
One of our classic XG busting games where we could have lost 6-1 and drew 2-2. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. He was really, he was really good, really promising. Then obviously and I think he also played in that Reading away game, the 4-0 game.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was really promising in Australia. Yeah, he's got something about him. Again, currently, is he really serious competition in the league for Norwood and Jackson? Probably not yet. Not yet, I don't think. But good support. I like him. Like the look of him.
El Mazzuni, has he now just dropped behind Dobra into that kind of third tier?
Yeah, I like him. I really do like him. But again,
Idris
I
think Dobra.
Well, I mean, so I like both, but I really like Mazzuni, and I think Mazzuni certainly, perhaps, how can I put it? Perhaps is a little bit more mature than Dobra, but maybe you take that bit of cockiness and impudence away from Dobra, and he loses something from his overall game, But I quite like Mazzuni. I'd say Mazzuni certainly got a future here, but again at the moment, squad around the squad sort of player.
But when you actually look down that lot, there's not really that many sort of dead losses, people treading water who are, they've all kind of got something.
They are.
I mean,
the one who really, the one.
Toto,
again, it's that. Who I must admit, when he came and towards the end of last season when he was playing, I really liked him. I thought, oh God, he's going to bloody be imperious in League One. But obviously he got the pretty bad injury. It was 6 weeks out, wasn't it, pre-season? So obviously I think that's knocked him back a bit, and Yeah, he's just been. How can we put it nicely? Slightly off the pace, I'd suggest.
But so are you saying it still could happen? Because I was at Accrington when he was brilliant.
Oh
We
no,
played so
absolutely,
terribly. Not
absolutely.
Accrington this season.
No,
He
I know,
wasn't
I know.
brilliant this season,
Yeah,
but
no. He certainly wasn't brilliant this season. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I think the crowd's picked up on it. You know, when you see the social media comments and stuff like that, and the crowd's picked up on it as well. So yeah, and again, he
very
comes across
likable fella on
oh,
social
exactly.
media, isn't
So
he? Yeah.
again, someone you'd really like to do well, but yeah, I'm not sure. Certainly, at the moment, well behind the likes of Wolfenden, who's had a fantastic start to the season.
So yeah, 4-3. Joe was at the game for us. Said it was a 4-3-3, but too often a 4-5-1. Edwards and Georgiou wide with
Salami a bit isolated.
McGavin was holding
Holder.
in the midfield. Yeah. So look, Dave, we won't go. I'm sure.
Should we just comment on the goal?
Let's comment on the goal. What a strike!
Wow. Yeah, it was Jason Cundy-ish, wasn't it?
We're not going to have the Ronaldinho debate here, are we?
No, that was that. I think it was a swing when it was a Jason Cundy. It was quite odd because I saw the goal back, and he sort of came from nowhere. And Elmet Zuni was sort of like jogging out, and I thought, oh, maybe the whistle's gone or something like that. And he just catches it. It's ridiculous, really. He just catches it perfectly. And some people were saying, oh, holy 6'8" or whatever he is, shouldn't get caught. But it had everything, that ball. It just carried and bloody dipped under the crossbar as well, didn't it? I mean, they're saying it was 50 yards. I'm not sure it was 50 yards. It was a hell of a way out, though. Apparently, listened to the commentary and seeing a bit of the eye follow, he was really quite good, that left back. He was certainly their best player. Clampett. One of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Gonna have another one, another fullback off Colchester. So the only goal, a little bit of
fortuitous.
A little bit of a fluky thing, but like we said, Dave, that goal, the difference between possibly a trip to Exeter and Paul Lambert and his staff not having to travel at all for a game.
Yeah, no, I think that was a shame that, and it's quite late on in the game as well, 80th minute, wasn't it? But by all accounts, Lambert, I know he does talk it up, but even listen to the radio, Darren Ambrose summarised and he was all right. But apparently they said all the kids that played gave a really good account of themselves, and obviously one for stat late on in the game. This kid that nobody had heard of, this 16-year-old kid comes on. Don't believe he got a touch of the ball by all accounts, but and became our second youngest player by 20 days after Connor Wickham.
Yeah, so Chiwera comes on at the end. We also had Shenfield, which if you're a commuter to from Ipswich to London, you'll know all about. Won't you? Also, Gibbs and Hughes getting first.
Yeah, Liam Gibbs. Yeah,
I've
actually seen him play a couple of times. Yeah, I know Joe quite rates him. Really, really promising kid.
And hashtag no normal. 2,500 Ipswich fans there.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's brilliant.
No normal.
Is it 5,200? I wrote it down somewhere. 5,200.
That was the published attendance, Dave. Okay.
Half of it. Apparently there was about another 1,000 fans outside in their car trying to get off the A12 by all accounts.
Did they not learn from that pre-season friendly? You got to get to Colchester early.
Oh, bollocks!
Yeah, it? You cannot get
terrible.
Cannot
get
bottleneck. Shall we go to some questions, David?
Go on.
Right, this is Justin who has just tweeted from the England game, so he's having a lovely time this week.
I think winning Justin.
And Justin who won the CV game, Dave, which may or may not be back tonight. Who knows? Come on, it's me and you.
It's got to be in it.
Justin won the CV game at the live show. Remember, he called John Nolan, didn't he? And
he did.
Statman had sorted the prize and won some vouchers for a meal or something, which was.
I think he did. Yeah, he
fantastic.
did. Yeah.
So yeah. Justin says we scored 2 or more goals 4 times in August, but only managed it twice in the 9 games since. Why have the goals started to dry up, Dave?
Well, clearly Norwood went through that lean spell up to Southend, and but there were chances there. He was getting chances like 1-on-1s and stuff like that, and just being a bit too, how can I put it, careless, casual, I think. And yeah, maybe after our sort of flying start, both results wise, and goals wise, teams have basically come with a more defensive approach, and we found it just more difficult to break them down.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something in that second point that now we're seen as no one really knew. I mean, we've done 330 podcast episodes, and we wouldn't have been surprised if we were 17th now, would we?
But not at all. Not at all. No one knew what to expect.
Also, a lot of away games in there as well. Haven't
a hell of a lot. Yeah. And which and a hell of a lot of those we won by 1-0.
Yeah. Alex asks again, will we ever sing Dio's Holy Diver for Thomas Holy? Dave has just said that he's Will Norris is ahead of him now, so looking you've gone down from a 1% chance to a 0.5% chance there, Alex.
What's the phrase? Possession is 9/10 of the law. So look, he's the man in possession. So
I'm sure I heard a gruff Yorkshireman with veneer teeth say that once, Dave. Yeah. Mike asks, the Colchester game was written off as a dead rubber, but having lost, we now face a potential long trip to somewhere like Exeter. Surely there would have been benefit to winning or even drawing the match and getting a home draw.
I think we covered that, haven't we? Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yep, we totally agree with that, Mike. Chris, London Tractor Boy, kept hearing a replay was the worst result from the Lincoln game. Oh, his glass is half full here, Dave. But ideally, if Ambit is being honest about his players needing games to be ready when called upon, surely he'd want cup replays and therefore more games to give the reserve. Is that a potential upside, or is Chris's glass just very, very half full there?
His glass is fairly half full, but yeah, I can see where Chris. I can see where he's coming from there, but we shall see.
Dylan, oh dear. Dylan asks most overrated and underrated flavours of Chris. I think that sounds like one for our Kings of Anglia friends, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. What's it? Just if it put you on a spot, favourite, Ben?
Ready salted Walkers, just potato and
salt
and oil. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Simples.
Yeah. Good.
Mary,
a nice Walker salt and vinegar. I must admit, but old school.
Mary says no questions, but agree about the shape-shifting fixture list. Difficult to plan. I believe Mary is a train user as well, so you really want to know when your away games are going to be. FPL Tractor says Dave. He's going to take you down the Hughes rabbit hole here again. Hughes playing twice in 4 days is encouraging, but his performance is less so. Do the esteemed panel, well, Dave, think that we'll get the pre-injury Hughes back?
I'd love to think so. I really would. Maybe it will take a few more games and, up till, I don't know, say Christmas and New Year to get it back. But yeah, he needs to, I think, I don't know how many games he's had, 4 games now, must be 4 or 5, maybe 6 perhaps. I think he needs to get up to speed fairly quickly. And if he does get back to where he was pre-injury, well, we've got potentially one of the top midfielders in the whole, certainly in League One, for goodness sake. And if not, even if you showed in that time when he wasn't, in 2017-18, probably in the Championship as well.
We do see players. Look, I know Alan Shearer is Alan Shearer, but he had 2 cruciates and I suspect scored 7 in his first 10 both times when he came back.
Strong up there, Ben. Extremely strong.
But then people like Lentini, who world record transfer, got hurt, and that was it, wasn't it?
It's between, with injuries like that, Ben, it's between the years. Shearer just, you don't score 260 Premier League goals without being, he's mentally tough. Christ. Yeah.
Ben Airier, who's been the standout player of 2019, and could Andre Dazelle become one of our best midfielders? Standout player of 2019.
Yes, of course he could. I wasn't there last Saturday, but by all accounts, you did start to see it a little bit. Second half Saturday, lovely goal. So look, that's what he's capable of. He's just got to show a bit more. Yes, technically he's probably best midfielder we've got at the club technically, but in that league sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, you need a bit more than that. Need a bit more.
Standout player.
Hey, look, I think Dazelle could, in my opinion, could go either way. Yes, he could well develop into the player we all hope we've got, and the potential. I don't know, £10 million player or something like that. Or
Dave, I said it on the pod last time, Brian Mbuemo plays inverted right winger for Brentford, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't have to do any defending.
yeah.
They keep the ball 80% of the game, and he just has to cut in and curl stuff with his left foot. Can you imagine that was Dazzel's remit?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Sadly, don't think you'll ever quite have that at Ipswich, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, brilliant.
Let's gimmick Ben's question. Standout player of 2019. So you got to go from January.
So, bloody hell, standout player
So you
2019.
can't say Kane Vincent. Well, you can say Kane
No,
Vincent.
no, no,
Janey,
no, no,
because
no, no.
there's been nobody
Stand
better.
out. Oh God, that's tough, Ben. Still crikey from January.
Colin Quainer.
Yeah, leave it. No, no, no. Do you know what? Standout player, a player, yeah, who has really stood out for me. He's got overall. Wolfenden actually stood out for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Wolfenden stood out. Really, really. Yeah.
Amy of our own parish says, League or Cup? Does it actually have to be a choice between the two?
It probably, yeah, it probably does. You know, we need to get promotion this season. We need, especially the position we are. Promotion is the key this season. However, with our depth of squad, I think he could still play. And we always said in previous seasons, with our depth of squad we've got now for League One, I think he could pay a little bit more. How can I put it? Respect to the FA Cup games as well.
Well said. Richard, also of our parish, says, what are your plans for Saturday?
I'm chipping up some tiles in my kitchen on Saturday. I know that. I love that. Do you know what? I did think about going to watch a non-league game somewhere, a local game somewhere. So I might take in something Saturday if I get my tiles up Saturday morning.
I will await. I will await
Where are you
instructions.
Saturday?
I'll await instructions. Yeah. Well, there's no football, so maybe we'll have the dogs. So
cool.
Hang with the dogs, do some walking and whatnot.
Nice.
Brad is not going to like the answer to this because I know Dave's a bit of a weirdo about this, but tea or coffee?
Don't drink neither, mate.
Ridiculous.
Don't drink hot drinks.
Grown man doesn't drink hot drinks. But Dave,
grown man. Worst, I'll have a hot chocolate very, very rarely. I just don't drink hot drinks.
Unbelievable.
All of my boys either.
At David Diamond Free to discuss further with him on Twitter.
Drink. Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah, I'm a tea guy.
Yeah, I know you're a tea man. You're an exotic tea man, aren't you? All sorts of flavours.
I like to think I'm exotic in most ways. You know, like if I was on Football Manager, they'd just say exotic. There wouldn't be numbers. It would be like
you are probably the most exotic person I know. Actually, actually, you're not thinking about it. You're probably not. But yeah, as a close friend,
literally run a global business day.
Yeah, I know. As a close friend, I don't know anyone more exotic than you. There you go.
Pat, didn't he just come back from Cape Verde?
See, Pat's not really. Pat's not really exotic, is he? He's all right.
Proper English, isn't he? Yeah.
Not exotic, nah.
Right, we should give Arthur Pickthorne a shout out, Dave, because he always asks good questions, doesn't he?
Go Arthur.
So, do you think Will Norris is now our first choice keeper? 9/10.
Yes, he is.
This is Mullet. Are we missing a cult hero Dutch player? Ipswich always seems happier when we have one. Does Lambert need to get on a ferry before January?
Get
Dave,
over there.
You're a freak when it comes to stats like this. How many Dutch players have we had?
Oh shit, stat. How many Dutch players have we had? So obviously the three most famous ones obviously are going to be
Marco Holster,
Zondervan, of course. Marco Holster,
Bobby Petter.
Bobby Petter.
Fabian Wilness.
Yeah. Oh, Fabian Wilness.
Where did Pim Balkenstein come from?
Yeah, I believe he was Dutch.
Yeah?
I believe he was Dutch, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we
Stop
need
yelling at your car radios and your iPhones while you're listening to this with the ones that we're
he's got to. Yeah, we've obviously missed out someone glaring that we've missed out. But yeah, there's obviously
Martin Rooser, for fuck's sake.
Oh,
excuse my language.
God's
sorry.
Sake. There's obviously some bargains to be had over. I'm sure there is still. And as Robson used to do, when I remember when he got Tyson, I don't know if that's still the thing. That at the middle of some mad mental Dutch harsh winter where basically FC20 wasn't playing, so he offered a derisory sum, and they were basically skinks. They weren't getting any gate receipts, so they sold him to us for like, I don't know, 200,000 or something. So look, I'm sure there is still some of these young Dutch players that are around. So I'm sure there are nuggets to be picked up over there, but I don't know if our scouting network these days stretches that far. I'm not sure.
Quick couple of apologies there. Apologies for that swear, because we did have a complaint the other day of a gentleman listening in his car with his daughter, and I think it was potty mouth Amy.
It was. I saw it. It's
dropped
potty
an
mouth
F-bomb.
Amy, wasn't it?
And the second apology is that I'm not going to edit it out because I'm lazy. So sorry you had to hear it.
And a third apology, it had to be Ben as a last sort of afterthought, came up with Martin Reuser.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have sworn if you'd have come up with the guy that scored the most famous goal in the last, probably two of the most famous goals in the last.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, we don't really. I mean, I know people got really annoyed with Knudsen at the end, but that was actually a good sign in general, wasn't it? For the money we paid and the service they got for a couple of seasons. European market hasn't really been exploited. I'm racking my brains. Knudsen must be the last.
Kevin Brew, again, he showed moments of promise, didn't he? But never quite happened for him. It just hasn't really been for us, has
Johnny
it?
Parr, but he was already at Palace, wasn't he?
He was already at Palace, but it just hasn't in recent seasons. Just hasn't been for us, has it?
This is Mikey, who appears to be mocking me. Dave says,
Go.
Does Ben know his best Blue Monday lineup? Should he be prioritising the flagship show? Is he worried about a podcast backlog later in the season? Now, hopefully, Paul Lambert doesn't take the same tack as me, but I work very hard during the week, and frankly, I make up the podcast running order as we go along. Always worried about podcast backlog. Bit of a nightmare, but Richard does quite a good job of arranging.
He does. Richard's very good at that.
Who's going to be on? Richard's
very
bit
good
more
at that.
efficient than me. So basically,
it was easy. It was on the show we're doing tonight. It was easy back in the old days when it's just me and you. We didn't have to worry about anybody else, did we, mate?
Well,
just
one
together,
show
really.
a week. Yeah, one show per week made life
one
easier.
One show a
didn't
week.
It? Yeah.
Recorded generally Sunday mornings or Sunday evenings, depending on where you were gigging the night before.
Yeah.
Far flung or stuck in a Norwegian airport or something.
Helped when I lived in Ipswich, didn't it? But there we go. But of course, we thank everybody who listens each and every week, multiple times a week. And when we did a show of hands at the live show, Dave, there were people who have listened to every minute of this. Every minute.
That was right. It was unbelievable. That's it. When I think I said that, it's more than I've listened to. But it was incredible, really.
Scenes. It's tricky though, isn't it? I've always said the same. After you play a gig, you don't listen to music, and it's kind of like after you do all the talking and whatnot, you kind of like you want to listen to a podcast about. Or an audio book about something else, don't you? So
but where you booked? Just quickly, I want to think about where you booked New Year's Eve this year.
That's an interesting one. I was booked in Oxford, and my agent has done a number on me here because he said to me, Ben, can I shift you to the gig that you did last year? That guy gave me a tip, so straight away I'm onto it. So I say to the agent, look, this is going to be purely a numbers thing here. I don't care where I go, but I'm going to need more money to go to the other place than you're paying me for the other place. So he says he'll give me more money, and then he says, and I'll be there, and two of your other mates will be there. So now I'm looking at it as, well, I get to see some people I haven't seen. So I may well be somewhere in Norfolk, but I should be in Oxford. But
okay,
yeah.
And then taking in the Wycombe game the next day or not?
Hope so. Yeah. Hope so.
It's on Sky Shitter.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's at Wycombe as well, isn't it? So if I come back this way, then for sure. Dave, it's back. I'm so sorry because it was you and me. We're not going to bring back the old theme music, but here is the CV game. So for listeners that are new maybe this season or even last season where we did two little ducks, the CV game. Dave's a really nice guy, but it turns him into a bit of a. Think Michael Jackson turning into the zombie in Thriller. Yeah,
makes me mad.
Yeah, it makes Dave mad. What I'm going to do for new listeners, the old listeners they've already switched off. So for new listeners, I'm going to read out in order the clubs of. Well, I've got two, Dave. I've got two players for you, so you can get into.
Can I ask this? Have both got Ipswich connections or neither?
Both.
Good.
Okay. Depends what your definition of connections is, though.
Oh.
Maybe different to mine. But so I'm going to read out the clubs, and you've got to see how soon you can get it. Please do tweet us in, because remember, Dave, hole in one. If you get it from one club, you need to tweet us and tell us.
That's open to. Yeah, go on.
Frivolous claims will not be accepted. Right, player number 1, Dave. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clubs.
Yeah. Quite nervous, Ben.
You're nervous.
Go on. Go.
It's a bit of a laugh, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it is, mate. Go.
Yeah. First club, Blackburn.
Yeah.
You want to have a guess?
First club, Blackburn, Ipswich connection. No, carry on.
A couple of loans, but then off permanently to Leeds.
This is the point where everyone's saying, God!
He goes blank. And the thing is,
Scugless.
Oh my God! There's a round. He's got it. So I would have then gone on to say Swindon.
Do you know?
Where next, Dave? Where next after Swindon?
I obviously tipped up at Brentford somewhere. Yeah.
Ipswich.
I should have said, when I said that, I should have stopped and said, oh yeah, by the way, Ben, there's something I wanted to ask you. Is there any way, I was like
Scugless. So Jonathan Douglas, Blackburn, Leeds, Swindon,
Yes. Come on.
Ipswich, a fine figure of a central midfielder.
Yeah.
Right, this one's a bit more difficult, Dave. And I'll give you a little bit of a clue. So we're going back to when you really liked football.
Oh, great.
Or is it a little bit after you really liked football? But
I still like football.
Okay.
I don't really like it anymore, though, but go on.
There's a lot of clubs here, Dave, so just keep track, and you'll probably be able to give me a guess after about 5, I reckon.
Go.
Swansea. Started at Swansea.
Hang on, Swansea. Yeah.
Brighton.
Yeah.
Oxford.
Wait, hang on. Go on.
Derby County.
Can I have a stab?
Yeah.
Geraint Williams?
No, we're moving on. I'll read it again. Swansea, Brighton, Oxford, Derby to Liverpool for a very big transfer fee.
For Liverpool. Yeah, I got him. Dean Saunders?
Dean Saunders. The connection was he always scored against Ipswich.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some good ones there. Swansea, Brighton, Oxford, Derby, of course.
Got it after Oxford, really.
Nearly took the league away from Arsenal in '89 for Derby, didn't he?
Yeah.
Off to Liverpool under Souness. Aston Villa scored over Clive Baker from the halfway line. Went to Galatasaray. That must have been with Souness, mustn't it?
I think so, yeah. And the biggest cheating penalty ever at Portman Road. One of the worst in that 2-2 game. About second home game in our first season of Prem.
Forrest scored past us in the FA Cup, didn't he? Sheffield United in those battles with Fjørtoft and Hutchinson.
Prolific. Christ knows what his goals tally, but yeah, prolific goals.
Quick when he was at Derby and
clever movement, really clever. First
Benfica and then finished up at Bradford.
Oh yeah, of course,
quite a career. So let us know if you beat Dave on either of those. I think he was 2 on Jonathan
2 on Scugless.
Douglas.
But I think I should have. I was thinking too much of the. When I said Geraint Williams, I was thinking too much of the Ipswich connection there.
Yeah, sorry. But I didn't want to say, he never played for Ipswich.
No.
Yeah,
Cool.
So, Dave, coming up, we need to give a quick plug at the weekend. Joe has just done all the statistics for the latest Football Manager game. So,
they're doing a...
Yeah, they're going to do a Football Manager special. So, feel free to tweet either at Blue Monday ITFC or at Ipswich or at Joe Fairs.
Joe and Rich, isn't it? Yeah, I should imagine that would be pretty popular, that.
I need to hear you, Victor Leonenko, Tommy Svindal Larsen, what was his name? Zolo Makoku. Mark Kerr. These weird football manager players who were no good in real life, but absolutely killed it.
Oh, okay.
Killed
Yeah, I see.
Toton Zola Makoku. Was that his name? I can't remember.
Mate,
Yeah, can't remember.
I,
But
I don't know.
yeah,
No, I imagine that would be a pretty popular show, though.
I retired from Football Manager when it started showing you your game time at the start, and it said 8 days or
And
whatever.
so does it actually show game time then? Does it sort of open brackets, slightly obsessive, close brackets, morbidly obsessive?
Yeah, I think it does give you some kind of warning. Dave, when I was doing my GCSEs, right, my my mum used to have to go to work, and then there was
Yeah,
about 20 minutes before I had to walk myself to school,
yeah.
and she'd go out the door, up I go. Sometimes I'd even switch the computer on before she'd gone and quickly get in there and get a couple of games in
Did
there.
you ever make registration?
That just became a running joke. And Mrs. Singleton, my form teacher, literally, I think you had to be registration by 8:50, but your first class was at 9:10. And we just
Yeah.
used to argue, well, if I'm here for my first class at 9:10, what's about? And you'd get a detention if you got three strikes.
Yeah. Three strikes and you're out. Yeah.
Didn't do so well in my GCSEs, but, but yeah,
Ben, you joined the University of Life when you joined AGF Alliance, mate.
Isn't that what people who sucked at school say? Yeah. No, actually, I got an A.
Back in the day, we took in all sorts of waifs and strays.
Dave, I got an A in music. That was the one. I made a ton of money out of that. So
Yeah,
there
mate,
you go.
Who's right? So who's right?
University of Life. That's blockbusters.
There you go. Yeah. We employed Ben and Gary Lane. Sorry, Gary, if you're listening.
Allegedly.
What a lad.
So yeah, Joe and Rich will be back. Dave, coming up, Lincoln midweek in the FA Cup away. That's definitely happening. Then back-to-back home games. Remember, we're on a 2-game winning streak after the
I'm kind of really looking forward to those. Yeah, Blackpool and Wickham. Yeah, Wickham, top of the table clash.
Wickham is a big one, isn't it? Because there's still a sense that we need to knock over a direct rival. You know, Rotherham were good.
Gotta have a lot of respect for their manager. That Ainsworth is, he's good, isn't he? Really,
he's
really good.
Great
really
guns, isn't he?
We like Ainsworth.
So then potentially could be Coventry unless we lose to Lincoln, which is.
Aren't we playing Coventry twice in pretty much a week?
Well, hold that thought. Then we will be going that midweek to either Bristol Rovers, Exeter, or Milton Keynes, or Peterborough. So could be. I said earlier in the pod, could be 0 games. Obviously that was totally inaccurate. So I'm sure you've already tweeted me about it. Given that was 30 minutes of audio ago.
I think we're currently possibly up to 12 games in December, aren't we, or something?
Well, at least you get that run of 3 Saturdays. Cov away, Bristol Rovers at home, Pompey away.
That's what I've missed. That is what I've missed this season, the Saturday games, for Christ's sake.
But remember, Dave, that never stabilises until January, or you get knocked out of the FA Cup.
Yeah,
which for
true,
us
I suppose.
And then you get, and then the 3-game weeks start again going into Easter, don't they? But because of the way, because there's Euros this year and there's playoffs for those, the international breaks are. I mean, I look through the Championship stuff. They're basically now, if they keep going in the FA Cup, they're basically playing through to March now. The Championship teams, which is 4 months straight with probably 4 3-game weeks and Christmas as well. So it is
just quickly while you ask with your Championship stuff. I know we don't used to talk about this, but. If you were to name a player who's caught your eye, I mean, obviously in previous seasons, Hernandez and people like that.
Yeah.
If you could name a player that's really caught your eye this season, whom would it be?
Oh God, I could do tons. Eze and Chair for QPR are very good. Who's up the top? Grimes for Swansea, central midfielder.
Yeah.
Normal Leeds runs. Ben White on loan, the lead centre half for.
Listen, how's
Brighton.
you've seen Swansea a few times? How's Selena doing?
I haven't seen Swansea yet.
Oh, you haven't seen Swansea?
No, I haven't seen them.
Okay.
Izzy Brown, who you always liked, is like the main guy at Luton.
Yeah.
Now,
they play some good stuff, don't they? They're quite open and attractive.
Yeah,
and
they've lost like 5.
Well, I know,
6.
but
this is all waiting for us. It's all waiting for us next year.
Yeah. Okay.
But are you are you thinking that you're going to get back into the
Oh
grind
yeah, of
around
course.
that
I mean, of course. I mean, I think it's
weird
just the whole
time at the moment, isn't it?
It's the whole bloody disruption of it. Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'm sure I'm not alone in having that feeling. Of course, I still love it. Of course, I do. But yeah,
What
just a
Dave?
little
Sorry,
bit.
what is that David Bowie song that goes, "You know, love, you're not alone"? Which
I
one?
don't
Which
know.
one is that? I can't
Suffragette
remember.
C.
No. Someone tweet us, which
Yeah, someone.
feels like a Ziggy Stardust one, doesn't it? Or is it?
Ziggy plays. No, sorry, well, no, it's not that.
Pushing through the market square. Do you know where I lived in Aylesbury? I think
Yeah.
I've said this on the pod before. That the Aylesbury Market Square was the market square mentioned in
No.
5 years. Yeah, there's a plaque and a statue
Ah,
and everything. So then you walk past that, and there's just every third person is going, "We got 5 years. What a surprise! 5 years. My brain hurts like a warehouse." Unbelievable scenes. We brought it all
brilliant.
back. We mentioned Mick, we mentioned Bowie, we mentioned Hoddle, we mentioned
Yeah,
80s
absolutely.
football.
Let's get it all out there.
But
That we used to. That was our staple of the pod.
quickly, Dave, real key, double that. And
Yeah,
we have been hitting the 2 points per game, but draw at
yeah, we have.
Blackpool
They're
and
two big games coming up. The Blackpool, Blackpool. You sort of,
4 points
Blackpool.
from those two would be lovely, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
good. Yeah, yeah. What were we? I think I looked tonight. We're 5 points clear of Peterborough in third with 2 games in hand as it stands. So look, it's looking really good. I mean, you've got to think Wickham, are they really gonna stay the course?
But do you
Although
remember that question the other week about Bradford in '99 or whatever, and they'd never been there before, and they just kept going and going and going and going. I like the way you phrased it. I need to stop this season. I need to stop doing points per game. It's about the distance between us and third place, isn't it?
It is really
just
that's
a race. It's a
that's
race,
all it's
isn't it?
about.
Yeah.
And look, the Wickham game, no, 4 points. You take 4. I'll take 4 points
But
now
you'd
for those
prefer
games.
draw Blackpool and beat Wickham. Actually, beat one of the
Yeah,
beat
but
one of the
Wickham,
direct rivals.
I think Wickham are about to have done they're getting new investment. I need some. Did I see that?
Some American money, is it?
American money going in there. Yeah. Interesting. But yeah, 2 big games, and midweek, Wickham's on the Tuesday under the lights, so you're going to go. Obviously, I don't think in any way Wickham take 2,000 anywhere, certainly on a weekday. But you're going to think it's going to be 20,000 there under the lights, big game. Yeah, it should be great. Haven't had one of those where competing at the top of a league, those sort of games for seasons and seasons, have we really?
And remember, it didn't go well in the game against Rotherham, didn't it?
No, it didn't.
They played a bit of a number on us,
it's a bit of a hangover, I think, from Accrington. So, and I digress. It's coming to me now. I've got to say, I mentioned for Wolfen, who I should have said, and this sort of, think of things on the fly. Probably Flynn Downs has been my player of 2019, probably. Along with Wolfen, but probably overall, Flynn Downs is just he really is a mainstay of the side now. Really is.
Lovely stuff, Dave. Well, hopefully you have enjoyed the old school Blue Monday vibe.
Good, Ben.
BB, V's,
DD, BBDD,
DD.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on Twitter, Dave? To
David Diamond 3.
Ask you about why you don't drink hot drinks and how that's.
Was that weird? Is that weird though? I'm not sure it is.
No, come on. I'm a lover, aren't I? The choice. You drink what the hell you like, can't you?
Thanks, man. Yeah. Hang on. Trace, put a kettle on.
Bye, everyone.